Watch Hope More with host Hope Demps on the Daily Gospel Network, the television show created to inspire, encourage, and motivate. Each week, we will provide a dose of entertainment, social commentary, and spiritual insight. This is your opportunity to gain a better understanding of current and important topics from a refreshing perspective, plus creative art, new foods, travel, event reviews, do it yourself projects, awesome guests, and so much more. Catch Hope More with host Hope Demps every week on the Daily Gospel Network.
Hello, my Facebook family. Let's talk about the next point of not playing with broken families, okay? Not playing with broken families. Now, listen, just because you have DNA or shared genetics with people does not mean that they have a right to be in your life, okay? So I just want everyone to understand. And um, I was going to share a picture, as I did in the advertisement, of Prince Harry or should I say Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan Markle. Everyone who's into any type of pop culture knows that he and his brother Prince William and Princess Kate are on the outs with each other, and he's on the outs. Prince Harry is on the outs with his father, who is now King Charles, and Meghan Markle is on the outs with her father. And now they're parents to little Archie and little Elizabeth. Everyone seems like they're doing well individually, but we know that there's broken down relationships in this family. Why do I say nope to broken families, or the idea that family members I have or relatives or even really close friends? Because I believe my close friends are like family, like Crystal and Crystal. I think they're family. When I see some gap is trying or division is trying to widen itself, I want to say that although I haven't always been this way, I am now more conscious than ever to close that gap and say, nope, nope, I'm not going to let division come and seat itself here, or wrong feelings or offense to push us apart, because families are important. Family is often the first ministry. A husband and wife, he submitted to God, she submitted to him, the kids are submitted to both of them. And also the Bible says they're submitted one to another. But that is a ministry. God is trying to use that. So when the enemy helps bring in offense and let it grow and start dividing and breaking up families, it causes destruction. And here's the crazy thing. We know alcoholism, obesity, even poverty often is translated generation to generation. And some of this genetically, some of this environmentally, and some of this spiritually. But here's the catch. You may have the best relationship right now with your children, but if you have unforgiveness and brokenness with your parents, even if they deserved it, understand that your relationship with your children is in danger, because you have shown your children that they can not only separate from their parents when they're out with each other, but that is okay. Let me tell you, just looking at Princess Harry's family, for those of you who are Anglophiles like me and love to read about the royal family, Queen Elizabeth was much beloved around the world, but her husband was really hard on King Charles, and King Charles had a very complicated relationship with his mother growing up, and they were not close, and sometimes they were out and out with each other, or he felt so suppressed by the burden of being the firstborn and to be prepared to be the king of England, that he was actually often separated from his sisters and brother, and just a lot of things. So now that's passed on. His kids have seen how that relationship has been cold. And then Prince Harry now is growing a cold relationship with his father. Even if it's deserving, understand broken families and brokenness in families is genetic. It can pass down. And you marry a woman who has a broken fellowship with her own father. Unless it's molestation, and even in those cases, I've seen some interesting peace. I won't say reconciliation. There's very few things that should have you be on the outs with your family. Okay. Um, I mean, and even if you have been assaulted or hurt, physically or sexually, I still think you can have peace with your family. Doesn't mean you have to be around them, but you should have peace. Because I'm telling you, your kids are looking at you. And you may right now be enjoying a great relationship with your kids or your grandkids, but yet you cut off your mother or your father for whatever reason. Understand that your potential future with your children and grandchildren are at risk because they see you model out that there is a possibility for you to divorce your own family. And let me tell you, as a kid, I had a situation where my mother was taking care of my mother's mother, my grandmother, and I won't say which sibling, a sibling of hers came in the house and ignored my grandmother, and my grandmother was in advanced stages of dementia. So in some ways, that person could get away with it, but they kept ignoring and just being so disrespectful that my mother kicked the person out the house. They were living with us, told the person that get out of their life, they're dead to him, they're dead to her. And I just as a kid was sitting there going, I was so shocked because I didn't know you can divorce your sibling. And I remember looking at my brother and thinking, one day will I just tell him he's dead to me? And that scared the bejesus out of me. I didn't think about my parents getting a divorce, but I did think one day I'll walk away from my brother potentially. I didn't know I could do that until I saw her pattern it. Thanks be to God that they have reconciled, and that has not lived, you know, in the family for eternity, but it stayed for a while. So brokenness in family, as quickly as you can. You guys get upset with each other. Maybe there was a fight during a verbal argument during Thanksgiving. Quickly apologize. Just get it right. I have to say, I'm embarrassed, but I have a family member who's always been dear to me. And we often have been compared to each other in ways that haven't been positive. And even as adults, we have had family gatherings where there's tension between us. And it's been like 4 years since I had spoken or seen this family member. And I remember selfishly saying, you know what? They're going to need me before I'm going to need them. So I ain't worried about it. And in the last couple of years, especially during COVID, I've reached out to that relative's parent to ask, can you give her my number, ask her to call me, and she would never give me the number to her daughter. She would never, I would never get a call. And I was just like, I don't, life is too short. I don't want to have anybody that I'm out of sorts with, especially not my relative. And so thanks be to God, in the last month we have reconnected. And when I say our reconnection has been such a blessing, I've just been like, oh my God, I didn't even know what I was missing. And she's flourishing, she's doing well, and I'm flourishing and doing well. And what I found out is that some of the angst about coming to family gatherings had nothing to do with me and other offenses. In fact, some things that really went down that was really violating for her, I had no idea had happened. And so I'm thinking, oh, she just don't want to be around me, but it was someone else she didn't want to be around. So here we have division for 4 years, and she actually got really sick of COVID. She's still dealing with long COVID. I forgot what they call long haul COVID symptoms. What if she would have died in those years that we hadn't talked? I would have been at the funeral crying, wanting reprieve, wanting another opportunity. And I'm just so glad that not only I'm glad that she's still here, we are working on our relationship. There's very few things that are insurmountable. And even those things that seem insurmountable, you know that um you just never know. You never know what could happen. You never know who can and who would be forever changed because you called them and you got something right. You called them and you made something right, and you said, you know, you you said, hey, how are you doing? I hate that we haven't seen each other. Yeah, you understand. You never know. You never know. We never know. So why, during this upcoming Christmas season, do we ignore people, especially in our family? It could be your parent, it could be that cousin, it could be a nephew. Why would you just ignore them? And you know that if something happened to you tomorrow or something happened to them, y'all would be eating at each other's funeral, saying, "Oh, I miss him." Let's not do that. So let's say no quickly. So, you made somebody mad during a spade game during Thanksgiving, and they're pissed off because you said something like you can't play anyway. Instead of letting them go home, be mad, grab them and hug them and say, "You know what? I love you. I love you." Knock them, if two men, fist pound or whatever, chest pound, make sure that you say no, man. Like, don't let it have you. You control your life. You say no. And this last point about not playing with personal baggage, let me tell you, I know it's impossible, especially a person of a certain age. And I'm 48. I'll be 49 on Valentine's Day. I'm calling it 45 on Valentine's Day. It's sort of hard to live to be almost a half a century and not have any baggage. And when I say baggage, most of you understand that anecdotally I'm saying things that you're carrying from other relationships, other situations, other events that probably cause you pain. You normally don't call baggage the happy things, but it also could be just really relatively important duties. Some people, like, if you have a child, that's baggage. That's not necessarily negative baggage, but it's a weight. I'm particularly talking about negative things, or it could be things that are weighty. And this recently, you guys, I hate that I can't share my screen right now, but when I went to Jamaica, I drove from Perry to Atlanta to catch the flight there because I was going a day early for my Jamaica trip. I was going to a conference. I was going a day early with one of my besties to spend the day right before the conference doing nothing. And so I thought, instead of flying out of Tallahassee, that we'll go to Atlanta anyway, let me just go to Atlanta. My plan had been to be there a day or two early to hang out with my godchildren and friends, but none of that happened. So literally, like at 5 o'clock in the morning, I am driving to Atlanta. I'm still packing clothes. So I literally have 6 bags in my car. 6 bags, y'all. Two um backpacks, one that could be like a carry-on, and then like 2 suitcases. Oh, was it 7 bags? It may have been 7 bags. I was like, I'm going to put in baggage claim 2, and then I'm gonna have a really big personal item bag, and then I'm gonna have like a bigger carry-on. So I knew I wasn't taking all 7 or 6 on the plane, but I was like, there's still little parts and pieces in other bags. I'm gonna have to post it just so you guys see how ridiculous it was. And so, listen, I had pretty much finished overpacking everything as much as I wanted to. I parked in a parking ride. I'm trying to get to the international terminal. I'm looking at the time. It's crazy. By the time I get there, it's like 30 minutes before the flight is to leave. And they're like, "Man, we can't. You're too late. You got to come back." And I was like, so I dragged, now with a bum knee that I have a stroller on or like a walker. I take and drag those bags back to my house, or not to my car. And I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? Because there was no more flights that day I can get. I had to get it the next day. So I was so tired. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to the closest airport hotel I can go to. I'm going to a Sheraton, 4 Points, really great. I took all 7 bags. Yes, yes, I know it's ridiculous. Wow. Yep, 7 bags. I took all 7 bags to my room and I began to repack. And so I had discernment out of those 7 bags, I was going to take 2 check luggage and then 1 big carry on and then 1 big purse, right? And by the time I finished repacking and just saying, okay, Hope, what's necessary? What's necessary? Some of y'all could have probably done it in 1 carry-on. I end up getting it into 2 bags. One of the bags could have been a carry-on, but I ended up checking that so I wouldn't have to deal with that and my stroller or walker. And then I carried a backpack. So I had 2 check bags and a backpack that had a purse in it, that had my little laptop in it. And I was like, wow, I went from 7 bags to 4 heavily packed bags to 2 bags, one of which could have been a carry-on and and a, a backpack. And when I tell you, I was like so grateful. Now, I really, really, really would have been winning if I would have just gotten 1 bag checked in a purse. But I'm coming. And so that's why I asked on my story, like, how many bags will you need for a 5-day beach vacation? Now, I mentioned all that to say, and I wish I had my pictures, but if you ever fly Spirit Airlines or some of these really discounted airlines, they make you pay for everything you bring with you except maybe one personal item the size of a purse. They make you pay for the carry-on. I saw anything listed from $55 to $100 if you don't get it ahead of time. So forget how much you're going to check, and they make you pay for everything. And you cannot get on this flight without either paying for it or leaving it behind. And I was thinking about the journey of life. This is where I should say extra baggage, not necessarily personal, but extra personal baggage where you're trying to fit 7 bags of clothes in 4, and it's going to weigh you down, and you got to get through customs, and you got to get through the airport. The more bags you have, the less fluid you can meander through the airport to your journey. And many times that 1 bag you have is too heavy. So you're going to have to pay extra. And sometimes they say you can't bring it aboard. And I just think about my life sometimes, things that I know that I'm called to do, things in places I'm supposed to be, but I'm loaded down with all this I'm trying to carry. I'm trying to carry with a bum knee, mind you, all these bags, and it's slowing me down. And it doesn't matter if I have pre-check, TSA pre-check or not. It's like I still can miss the freaking plane. I was thinking about I would not have missed the plane if I would have had less luggage because I was still in the parking lot trying to throw things in the 4 bags I had chosen. When at the end of the day, I ended up taking 2, basically. And I'm like, you know what? That's life. How many opportunities have I missed because of the doggone bags that I was carrying? And let me tell you, the reason why I often carry a lot of luggage when I fly is that because I'm a woman of a particular age and a particular size, and if I go out of the country in particular, I can't just like run out of an outfit or something tears. I can just run down to the gift shop and buy something that's suitable to wear. Like, so in my mind, I'm like, I can't go to this conference about iconic women, or even if I was by myself, truthfully, and not have at least 3 options per event. And so I overpack because I'm afraid of not having enough. How many times in our journey in life we take too much stuff because we're afraid it won't be enough? What we've carried, what we've put in won't be enough. And we want to have options. And but it takes away from our faith when you think about it. You know, what did Jesus tell the disciples to do in going out 2 by 2? You know, basically find houses of people of good will. You know, if they don't receive you, you know, shake them off. You know, but these people weren't being burned down with carrying like a bunch of stuff with them. They were going in the purpose of God, and they were trusting God. And if it wasn't received well, they'll shake it off. I'm like, what would have happened? Now, granted, I did end up having like probably one outfit per event and then a few extras, but it was a lot less than I carried. And I'm like, I'm one of my cohort colleagues was like, I'm carrying one outfit per whatever event, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'm just gonna wear it. And I actually stood or sat in awe of her, because the idea of me not being comfortable or feeling like an outfit I have on is not matching the particular theme, or it didn't come out the way I visualized, I would have been tripping. But there was a piece that this young lady had, that whatever I bring is enough. So sometimes we have all this personal baggage, not because we have to, but because we're afraid of not having enough. But when we have less baggage, think about the time you save, even in going international, in the time you save and going through customs. Say if I had for that 5-day beach, there's some of y'all who could probably only had a carry-on and a personal bag. You don't have to go to baggage claim to pick up anything. You just keep moving. And so when you travel light, you have you may not have the same options to use something that you brought with you, but you have the freedom of making decisions where you are. Hey, it won't kill you to rewear a pair of pants and another shirt, to switch it up. None of that would kill you. So one of my goals in saying no to extra personal baggage is like, whatever I feel is appropriate, I need to probably cut it down by 50%. Because I realize that what I think is appropriate baggage, what I think is normal, is probably a little bit more extra than I need. So I want to try. No, I'm not going to try. I do. I'm going to make a more concerted effort to plan ahead, but whatever I officially pull out, I need to say, okay, how much half of it, what half of this is gonna stay? Because I don't need it. I'm not gonna wear it. Or it's just extra. And I'm just gonna believe God. And the worst is that I end up repeating an outfit. Oh well. Oh, that caused me to itch. But I want to be able to just sail through in this journey of life. I don't want, so that's a physical representation of a spiritual situation. How many times do I come to a situation and I feel like, you know what, this person needs prayer. So I need scriptures. I need the newest of spiritual phrasing from my favorite, heroes of faith. I need anointing oil. And I need 5 days of fasting. Sometimes you just go with what you have and the word you have in your heart, your own testimony of God's deliverance in your life, and faith. The faith. You don't have to have all this stuff. But sometimes this stuff makes us feel like we are arriving prepared, but sometimes we're just arriving heavy. We're just arriving full. And God's like, be light. So not only can you come on the journey as fast or as efficient as you can, but so that you in faith know that you are enough. And wherever you go, there will be provisions. And I tell you, oh, I hear you, bro Davis. I hear you. Yes, I'm not mean to step on your toes, but let me just tell you, the first time I ever went to convocation was a couple of years ago. I'd never been to Mount Sinai Holy Church convocation, and I had come out of over 20 plus years in non-denominational church, and I grew up holiness, so I knew, or I thought I knew the expectation. And when I tell you, the only reason why I was trepidatious of going to this convocation is I felt like I did not have holiness Pentecostal clothes that were not, I wanted the big hats and the starch suits and the big bows and just the stuff that is fly, but it's sort of Pentecostal approved, where most of my clothes were easy, or even now, like, right, one shoulder out, just totally not acceptable. And I literally had to look at myself and say, hope, shut off that voice of criticism, take the clothes that you have, and go and get what you need. And if anyone has anything to say about it, you're going to just have to put it off. And I tell you, I'm so glad. I literally was trying to figure out ways to not go to convocation. If my mother and father didn't have some mobility issues, I wouldn't have gone. I knew that they needed me. And when I went, I felt so beautifully free. I felt so unjudged, even if people did. I felt like, why was I tripping? Okay, I don't wear big hats, but there was a lady there selling fascinators. I bought 3 fascinators and I wore the fascinators. I mean, I was like, this is doable. Okay, this is doable with what I have or what I can gain, and I can be myself. And sometimes carrying extra baggage is sort of like an armor that at both protects you, but also keeps you away from an authentic experience. And I was like, you know what? I'm not packing shorts and all of my makeup and big earrings. So I'm not trying to purposely go against the grain, but whatever I, have and feel comfortable that I am, showing respect, and hope that's enough. It's okay if it's not beaded to the heels and all that kind of stuff. That's not even you. Oh my gosh, brother, I should have you on as a co-host. Yes, put it off. That's the key, feeling free. Because I was like, I ain't gonna get nothing out of this except walking back and forth from my hotel room to the conference center if all I'm worrying about is what I look like and who's judging me for it. When truthfully, the more I live, I realize ain't nobody particularly worried about you. We got everybody I know got their own stuff to handle, okay? We all are working out our salvation. So I hope this is hitting the people who are listening where they need. Like, let's say no to jealous friends and broken families and personal baggage. It's impossible to avoid all things at all time, but even if someone comes to you and they're dealing with jealousy and they're sharing it with you, I'm not saying you shouldn't forgive them, but they need to come out of that, and you need to be cautious about the spaces you put them in until you feel comfortable and proven that they're really over that jealousy, or just decide that person is not a friend, they're an acquaintance. And it's okay to move people in and out of circles. And when it comes to broken families, there are sometimes situations that you just can't help. You just can't help. Your nephew, I'm not going to speak it, but some family member may unalive another family member. I'm not saying that you have to go in there and be broker peace, but what I'm saying is that you have peace with all men, and there's some hard areas in family that's hard to overcome. But this jealousy or stupid offenses, or someone made of macaroni and cheese better than yours, or some family member never thought that, they're a part of a good family and you're the bad, all that stupid stuff, squash it. Because often, and I'm learning, especially now that I'm managing my parents' care, family and God are all you have from birth to death, typically. And of course, God we have for eternity. But don't overlook that cousin, that brother, that sister, that parent, that uncle or auntie that really.
Watch Hope More with host Hope Demps on the Daily Gospel Network, the television show created to inspire, encourage, and motivate. Each week, we will provide a dose of entertainment, social commentary, and spiritual insight. This is your opportunity to gain a better understanding of current and important topics from a refreshing perspective, plus creative art, new foods, travel, event reviews, do-it-yourself projects, awesome guests, and so much more. Catch Hope More with host Hope Demps every week on the Daily Gospel Network.